K-Rugs, the sober dog, yeah, with Chelsea, the sober dog at, oh,
What's up?
coming at you from Maplewood Park, saying
Mhm.
what up,
What up?
yeah. Hey, I'm trying to get all that recovery info out there for everybody, so hit that like and that subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to talk to Chelsea today about her recovery, some of the stuff she's went through, give you guys a great perspective, let you know that anyone can find recovery. Doesn't matter who you are, what you've been through. Chelsea, what was your rock bottom?
So I would describe my rock bottom as something that was more of an emotional rock bottom. When I first came into sobriety, I didn't really understand what my rock bottom was. I thought that, I thought it had to look like something much lower. I thought maybe I had to lose my job and relationships and all the money I had. I thought I had to be homeless. That in my mind was the stigma that I had around people's rock bottoms. But, it wasn't until learning from others in recovery that I don't have to keep digging. I can put my shovel down anytime. I don't have to make my bottom lower and lower and lower. For me, towards the end, I was just hanging around with people that I would not normally hang around with sober. I was doing things that were, just not on my moral compass. I was doing things because I was supplied drugs and I was supplied alcohol. I did those things when I was messed up, and at that point I didn't care. And what that looked like the next day was a lot of self-hate, depression. I couldn't stand who I was. I couldn't stand what I was doing. And, I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't care. I didn't care to live anymore because of how awful I felt about myself and the things I was doing and all the guilt and shame and remorse that came along with that. So, my bottom was it was emotional. It was.
It's such a strong point, what you said, too, about the guilt and shame waking up. So many of us, I think, have that, where we go out, get high, get drunk, then wake up, have that guilt and shame, and really mean to get sober and mean it with every inch of our body.
Yeah.
But then later on in the day, withdrawal, drugs, stress, whatever, withdrawal, stress, all of it comes, and it just
right out the window.
Right in.
Yeah.
So what was your catalyst for change?
I would say my catalyst for change actually happened probably about a year or so into my sobriety. Just because we put down the drink, the drug, the gambling, the sex, the relationship, whatever it is, just because we put those things down doesn't mean that everything's better all of a sudden, right? So I put down the alcohol and the drugs, and all of a sudden I still have to deal with Chelsea and all these issues that have not ever been dealt with or treated properly. So probably a year into my sobriety, I was still repeating all the same old behaviors. I wasn't drinking or drugging, but I was still doing a lot of the same old crap. And, I got involved in one more relationship one more time, and it was destructive. And, I lost a good friendship because of that. But it wasn't until that point that I finally started to understand my addiction, because I saw it in another area of my life that wasn't drugs or alcohol, right? My addiction started to manifest itself in other areas of my life. Yeah. And because of that, once again, I dealt with another emotional bottom. I had to deal with those emotional consequences. So after that point, I started really just, working the steps of my own recovery and taking things seriously, because I didn't want to feel the way I was feeling anymore. I didn't want to continue that behavior, and I didn't want to continue doing what I was doing. So it really took about a year or so into sobriety of still repeating the same old Chelsea behaviors. And
that's the truth. What you're talking about there, I think so many people get like that dry drunk of, I'm sober, I'm not drinking or using the drugs, but I still feel like shit. Yeah. And that's where not changing any of those behaviors, like you said, we got to change those behaviors. I could be sober and not drinking or drugging today, but I'm still lying, cheating, stealing, doing all these things that just are eating me up inside. Yeah. That's so true. And along with that, what struggles did you have in early sobriety? And, what struggles do you currently have working through, sobriety?
Good question. And, that's, those struggles are a part of daily life. That's the human condition, is, these situations, life happening on life's terms that we struggle with. Fact. Early sobriety, one of my biggest struggles was changing people, places, and things. Ooh. Those are things that we need to change if we want to get sober. I can take away the alcohol and the drugs, but if I'm continuing to surround myself with the toxic relationships, the same people, the same places, the same bars, whatever it is, I'm not going to stay sober for very long. My drinking was very, very social. So it was really hard to distance myself from those bars, from that party lifestyle. Like, I didn't know what else to do with myself. I was still going to bars after just getting sober because I didn't know how else to live my life. That was a struggle. That was white knuckling it.
I remember talking to you about a lot of that. Not wanting to, you know, the FOMO almost.
Yes.
You don't want to miss out. Friends are here. Friends are there. What do I do on a Friday or Saturday night without going out?
Yeah. You know, I was in the restaurant. And I was anxious at the end of Saturday night because I was ready to go out. Yep. And that wasn't my life anymore. So
that's a hard thing to change. What struggles do you currently go through in sobriety?
You know, now it's, you know, they say that, you know, getting sober isn't the hard part. It's actually staying sober and maintaining that. And, you know, that couldn't be any more true for me anyways. You know, things are going pretty good right now, and they have been, right? Those are the gifts of sobriety that I have received. Things are finally starting to go good in my life. But I also know that can be a dangerous spot, because when things are going well, it's like, well, I don't really need this program anymore. I can kind of be done with that. I don't need to reach out to people anymore. Exactly. And you know, another one of those struggles is not finding, you know, fulfillment. You know, I have talents. I went to school in the past, and I've been working at the restaurant for about 4 years, and I was just still feeling stagnant. There was something still missing. You know, there were little things that would make me happy, but I could just feel it. There was something missing. So it's finding that fulfillment, you know, today that can be a struggle. Absolutely. That
daily motivation, that pump up, I know exactly what you mean. That's so true. What would you recommend to somebody out there struggling right now? Either they're in early sobriety or they are still using and want to get sober.
Yeah, that's in a world of today, that's such a challenging thing. You know, for so many of us, it is just so hard to communicate what we really have going on underneath. Yeah. And, you know, we're not mind readers, you know? You're not a mind reader. If I'm struggling inside and I don't speak about it, how can you help me? How can I get help? And, you know, I think that is really just the first step in just voicing that to someone else. You know, if you're not comfortable going to your parents, if you're not comfortable going to family or a significant other, like, there are other people. But it really just has to start with just saying, I need help. And it doesn't have to be any more elaborate than that. It doesn't have to be this big daunting task. I need help. Start with that. You know, we got to reach out. We've got to start talking to each other. That's the only way that someone's going to know that we're struggling, or we can receive help, you know?
That's so true. And my parents are my biggest support, but they were not the first I went to. And
me neither.
I felt comfortable telling it to a complete stranger over my parents, and that's not a knock to them. It's just they are so involved in my life, I just felt comfortable getting it off my chest to someone else.
Sure.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
What tools would you recommend for people, you know, community tools and stuff to either get sober or stay sober?
Yeah, oh my goodness, there's an endless amount of things that I'm just recently discovering in my own sobriety. You know, there's one thing I've learned is there's multiple pathways to recovery. Yep. You know, we were just having this conversation earlier. If someone finds something that is out of the norm that is helping them stay sober, great, use it. For me, I personally, I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, and I'm not anonymous, and I'm okay with that. I want to talk, I want to get it out. But AA works for me. It doesn't for everybody, but I work the 12 steps. I have a sponsor. You know, lately I've been checking out Refuge Recovery, which is more the Buddhist approach to recovery, and that's been interesting. There are just so many different resources out there. One of the big tools in my life that I have found is, you know, Recovery Fitness.
Yeah, recovery.
You know, that's, you know, for those who don't know, really quick, it's a sober living community. You know, it's more than just fitness. It's about like-minded people coming together, getting out there, getting active, and just coming together. You know, that's been a huge tool in my recovery. I needed something else outside of AA. AA works, but I needed something else to, when we talk about that fulfillment, I needed that extra piece. And that's what recovery has been for me. Yeah.
That's so true. And what I think recovery is awesome too is people our age, you know, I'm 31, Chelsea's a little bit younger than me. People our age, you know, our generation, we have a lot, I don't want to say more energy, but sitting in meetings, you know, all day, it was fine and it works, but it was not, I needed more, just like Chelsea said. So it was like going to a meeting, but then also the next day meeting up with people and doing a hike, going to do a workout, whatever, was like that a great combination of
the fellowship.
Yeah.
You know,
the fellowship outside of the 12 steps in the rooms, where you could talk about everything, and then meeting up and getting the energy out and the community and the passion. That's so true. And I'm going to put a link to Recovery in there for people that aren't in the Rochester or upstate New York area. You got to, search your city to find what they offer. There's AA, 12 steps. There's recovery things. You can call local police department, local, even the ambulance, the helpline, and they will get you some type of recovery or outpatient. But if there is a fitness recovery place like Recovery in Rochester and in upstate New York here, phenomenal. Get there.
Yes.
Chelsea, the last thing I'm going to ask you, I know one of your favorite sayings is, I wouldn't trade my best day drunk for my worst day sober.
That's right.
Explain.
So that's right. Yeah, I wouldn't trade my best day drunk for my worst day sober. And what that means to me is, growing up, I loved partying, and I had a close group of friends, and for that time it served a purpose. And I do have a lot of great memories with those people. I would deem some of those my best days drunk. And then we talk about my worst days sober. That means, when my depression still comes up, because it does. That means when I have bad days that come up, because they will. That is life. Life throws punches at us. Every single human, we all get punches thrown at us, right? We have those bad days. We do. But my bad days now look nothing like they used to. I have tools today to get through those bad days.
That's the truth.
I have people I can reach out to. If I'm feeling like I'm isolating and I need to be around people and I need that connection, I thrive off of that. I'll go on a hike, I'll go out for coffee, whatever it is. Those are what my worst days look like today, is when I'm having that bad day and I don't know where to turn, but I have tools to get through those days, and they don't feel as low as they used to. And you know what? Those days, those best days that I had when I was out partying, they weren't really that great, because I'd come home at the end of the night, be completely sick, black out, pass out, wake up the next day,
forget half of it,
ruin the whole next day because I had to sleep and nurse a hangover. That was my fun, really. Looking back today, like, I look back at that, I'm like, how was that my idea of fun? How was that my idea of, oh my God, that day was awesome? It wasn't.
Society tells us that's fun a lot of times.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
thanks, Chelsea. One thing I know is my problems today, drinking or drugging, is not going to help any of them. It'll make me feel good for 2 to 3 minutes, and then the problems are still going to be there, and now they're going to be 10 times worse.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Chelsea, you're the best.
Yeah.
Wonderful recovery. Everyone, no matter who you are, if you want to get sober, you can get sober. You can have a wonderful, awesome life, and I know Chelsea agrees with me. I wouldn't trade any of my sobriety for my best days out partying, drinking, just like she said. All right, everyone. I'll put the link down there for Recovery. Check out Soberdogs. Chelsea, thank you very much. You're the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. See ya.